just challenge Gavin Newsom, he eviscerated him. Live. Unfiltered. And in front of a silent, stunned audience. Newsom walked into real time expecting a spar. What he got was a full-scale political ambush. Maher wasn't pulling punches, he was throwing bombs. Rapid-fire questions, cold precision, no mercy. Newsom tried to pivot, smile, talk his way out, but Maher kept coming, tearing through his record, grilling him on hypocrisy, and exposing the cracks behind California's golden boy image. The crowd? Frozen. No laughter, no applause, just shock. You could see the exact moment Newsom lost control. The stammer, the shift, the desperation in his eyes. This wasn't just a bad night. This was a political disaster. Roll the tape and watch the governor unravel in real time.
Too much government there.
Missed that moment? Go back now, because what hit the room wasn't a gasp. It was a detonation. The second Maher launched that question, jaws hit the floor. No one, and I mean no one, expected him to go that savage that fast. And Newsom caught mid-blink. His face said it all. Wide-eyed panic, a crack in the voice, every polished talking point crumbling like dry plaster. You could feel the heat rising off him. This wasn't a curveball. It was a sniper shot masked as casual conversation. Maher lured him in with calm, then struck with surgical cruelty. And the governor, flailing, trapped in a moment he couldn't charm his way out of. It wasn't just uncomfortable. It was cinematic, slow, brutal, and unrelenting. For a split second, Newsom looked less like a leader and more like a man watching his own credibility collapse on national TV. That's the moment the power flipped. Maher held the mic. Newsom just held on.
That's it.
Here's where the air really turned electric. The setup? Deceptively simple. Should the state be in the business of forcing toy stores with 500+ employees to build gender-neutral aisles? Sounds like a layup. But instead of owning it, Newsom swerved into a fog of buzzwords and corporate name dropping. Suddenly we're hearing about retail compliance and how major brands are supposedly on board. A deflection masterclass. But no one asked if Target had feelings about it. The question was crystal clear. Is this government micromanagement or not? And Newsom spun that thing like his political future was hanging by a thread. Classic maneuver. When cornered on progressive policy, the move isn't to explain, it's to dance, reframe, ramble, anything but answer. And what we saw was a full-body pivot so dramatic it belonged in Cirque du Soleil. But here's the genius. Maher didn't come at him with fangs. He lulled him, buttered him up, tossed in a light joke, played it smooth, and just when Newsom leaned in, boom, Maher hit him with the real question. Sharp, fast, and totally untelegraphed. That's the moment everything shifted. Watch it closely. That's where the charm turned into a trap. Maher lobs a slick little compliment. Just enough charm to lower Newsom's guard. You can see the shift. That stiff grin, that flicker of nerves behind the eyes. He knows what's coming, but it's too late to duck. And that weird laugh from the audience, that wasn't amusement. That was tension snapping like a wire. Everyone felt the setup. Maher was winding the spring, and Newsom was already standing on the trap door. Newsom, all rehearsed confidence and media polish, looked ready to seize the moment. But Maher ripped it out from under him before the governor even found his footing. When the real question landed, it didn't hit like a punch. It crashed like a wrecking ball. Newsom staggered. The crowd recoiled like they just watched a car wreck in slow motion. And Maher? He sat back, satisfied, like a man who knew exactly how hard the blow would land. This wasn't just a stumble. It was a broadcast unraveling, and everyone saw it happen in real time. Then Maher launched another scorcher, and this one tore straight through the facade. For years, California's been crying climate crisis, warning residents to ration water like it's liquid gold. But behind the curtain, A different story entirely. Because the real culprit? Almond farms. The silent, unchallenged giants guzzling a jaw-dropping 80% of California's water. Not homes, not hospitals, not essential infrastructure. Almonds. A crop that barely dents the state's GDP, yet drains more water than millions of people combined. It's a scandal hiding in plain sight. So Maher slams the question down. If almonds are bleeding the state dry, why hasn't Newsom pulled the plug? And that's when it turns slippery. Newsom doesn't defend, he performs. A polished routine of sidesteps, vague rhetoric, and bureaucratic blur. It was less of an answer, more of a smoke bomb. But Maher, ice cold. He's watching the governor squirm, waiting for the perfect moment to dig in deeper. Newsom looked like a man stuck in quicksand, sinking fast, with the cameras rolling and nowhere left to pivot.
That you rightfully pointed out.
Did you witness that tidal wave of political word salad? Because I did, and it was a masterclass in dodging accountability. Maher fired a direct shot. Why is California letting almonds drain 80% of the state's water? But instead of answering, Newsom launched into a whirlwind of sustainability jargon and recycled climate catchphrases. It wasn't a reply, it was a smokescreen. Here's the raw truth. California isn't running dry. It's being bled out by almond fields, a crop that barely moves the economic needle, yet drinks like it's running the show. But instead of owning up, Newsom spun it like a PR exec on damage control. Polished, hollow, and completely detached from the crisis at hand. And Maher? He didn't even flinch. That look on his face? Pure disbelief. Laced with just enough satisfaction, like he knew Newsom had walked straight into his own rhetorical trap. This is why Maher rattles the establishment. He doesn't just go after the other side, he burns his own when the hypocrisy reeks. And in this moment, the progressive playbook collapsed like a soggy paper straw at a San Francisco brunch. Newsom's made an art out of slipping past accountability, and that's exactly why you rarely see him in the hot seat. Can't let the mask crack on live TV, right? But Maher, he slices through the act like a blade. One look at his expression, and you know, he's clocked Newsom as what he is. A smooth-talking illusionist, all gloss and zero grit. The kind of politician who can drown a room in buzzwords, dodge every real question, and still act like he just solved world hunger. Maher doesn't bite. He doesn't blink. He just watches the spin unravel, one empty phrase at a time. And just when you think Newsom's PR tap dance has hit rock bottom, he opens his mouth again. And what comes next?
I feel like shifting.
Right on cue? Boom! Newsom launches into another hyper-scripted sermon straight from the woke gospel. But this time, he compressed an entire ideological fever dream into under 60 seconds. That's not an answer. That's record-breaking propaganda. He didn't just sidestep the criticism, he weaponized it. Anyone who questions the agenda, branded as backward, hateful, or worse, enemies of progress. In Newsom's twisted logic, raising concerns makes you some kind of prehistoric villain dragging America into the Stone Age. This is the same ideological machine that's shoving men into women's sports, demolishing privacy in locker rooms, and turning basic questions into hate speech. Merit, outside biology, optional, sanity, on life support. And parents who dare to say, "Hold on a second," they're instantly labeled as dangerous, toxic, even a threat to democracy. This isn't reform. It's a cultural coup wrapped in rainbows and buzzwords. And Newsom, he's not standing on the sidelines. He's leading the charge, megaphone in hand. Surprised? Don't be. This is the same guy who once claimed that speculators were somehow behind the wildfires while homes were still burning. Even Joe Rogan had to blink twice and say, "Wait, what?" This isn't policy. This is a 5-alarm warning, and it just screamed across your screen in real time.
It's so creepy.
Let's drop the mask. The so-called woke elite aren't heroes. They're high-budget hustlers in costume, selling compassion while cashing checks. And Gavin Newsom, he's not just part of the game. He's the headliner. a political illusionist who wraps corruption in soft lighting and scripted sound bites. They toss around words like equity and justice like they're handing out candy. But the second a crisis hits, they don't show up with answers. They show up with calculators. It's not about saving lives. It's about spinning tragedy into political currency. Wildfires torching California to the ground. While families grab buckets and pray, Gavin's doing photo ops and polishing talking points. Emergency action? Delayed. Real reform? Ghosted. But a chance to boost his image? He's already there with perfect hair and a practiced smirk. This is the same guy who locked you down, crushed local businesses, and then disappeared into a Michelin-star dining room with lobbyists. No masks, no apologies, just privilege on parade. The same guy who screams about climate change from the sky while flying private like it's his birthright. The same self-declared man of the people who's never had to step over a single homeless encampment on the streets he claims to protect. And still, somehow, the woke crowd treats him like royalty. Why? Because the game isn't about truth. It's about who controls the narrative. And Gavin, he's mastered the art of pretending to lead while ducking every real consequence. This is the blueprint of the woke regime. Promise heaven, deliver wreckage, then escape through the back door untouched. They torch the economy, muzzle critics, and build bunkers of immunity while the rest of us pay the price. Newsom and his crew don't feel the heat, you do. They don't lose jobs, homes, or futures, you do. And they don't care. Because behind every speech, every tearful soundbite, every performative tweet is a wall of power they have no intention of sharing. That's the real kicker. They preach inclusion while enforcing division, claim progress while rewriting biology, and shout democracy while silencing every inconvenient opinion that doesn't fit their agenda. Gavin Newsom isn't leading, he's looting. A headline-hunting showman playing governor while California burns, bleeds, and begs for something real. And the most dangerous part? He's not alone. There's a whole machine backing this madness. Funded, fortified, and fiercely protected. So yeah, this isn't politics anymore. It's an empire of optics, a theater of control. And Newsom, he's not your savior. He's the lead actor in a nightmare we're all being forced to live. Buckle up, because the curtain's starting to fall. And when it does, the truth won't be pretty.